I started working on podcast field. Maybe it started 2015. I think it was the first podcast clip in maybe in the North Africa. And in this time, it was just, like trials, but my really first podcast, it was 2017. Then I traveled to America and I started to study podcast. In that time, it was like a game changer for me because I learned how to build podcasts. It happened that organizations was contacting me to start a podcast, and then in this time I learned by doing how to build a podcast for organization, like how to do a survey and research, and then to collect information, then to see the identity of this build the sound identity, visual identity, put all this together and the concept and then the topics and put it together in some podcasts. Then when it happened to the coronavirus, this Robert Bosch and the Goethe Institute started to contact me to start a podcast. It was maybe the first children podcast in North Africa in that time, and I built it from scratch. Then Care International, as they have a problem to connect with refugees, they wanted me to build a digital platform to make refugees connect together. So I started to build لمتنا or friendly space for Care International to connect refugees together, especially women, as it's safe places. They can chat and talk, freely in this. Again, UNICEF contacted me after the success of those two trials with Robert Bosch, Goethe Institute, and Care International, me to start a podcast for them to help children in the social distance. They can't learn and well, so it's like a platform for educational platform. Again, the Aswatona that I'm representing here is a platform, but it's mainly a scholarship program, aims to support and connect podcasters in the WANA region. So I have a cooperation with them, Ostcast, to build a podcast. And they said, why not to have something to support podcasters in the WANA region, like North Africa and West Asia. The program is supported by the German office, and it's implemented by Ostcast and MidOst. This program aims to support all the podcasters in the WANA region and build the transitional networking between them. Actually, we aim to support podcasters because we want from the start to educate people about what podcast is, because still there is a lack of information about what is podcast. So this is our first target, and then to build network between podcasters and support them through many workshops. And these workshops have a thematic approach, like gender, environment, power dynamic. And every time we are building up the information, like how to edit, storytelling techniques, how to cover sensitive topics, how to deal with environmental topics through podcast format. And through this, we started to build up this. In the same offer them full production. We bought for them like microphone, then we help them in a production process, then we produce for them if they want help, and then we dubbed all this product and episodes into German and English, and then marketing all this project for them. Sometimes we as a group of women, me representing the Middle East and Linda, Catherine, Savannah part, we believe that women need support more. So this we have for women in our program. When we started this program in last October 2020, we have 400 application, and it was for me it's 400 podcasters, real podcasters, and it was a great effort that we start in this time to check all this application and then choose 18 podcasters, because it's very intensive to give the right information. So it had to be small number. So then after we choose the 18 podcasters, we started to build the visual identity, sound identity. And actually, when we started this, I was have this obsession about the voices and how voice reflecting our identities, because you can I started to collect just women voices with no words. And I started to ask, because I work with refugees, I started to send these voices and said, "What? Can you tell me from where this voice?" She said, "No, it's not from Sana'a, it's from Taiz." And from Syria, she said, "No, it's from Sham, it's from Halab." And in Morocco, they said, "No, this is from the part of Wolf. It's related to Mauritania more than us." Then it was for me very fascinating that voices really creates our identity. We can just know that this the place from just a voice. So we create and build our sound identity according to this, according on voices mainly, not words. Again, we start our workshop. First round took place at last March, and a few days ago we end the second workshop, gender, and the next maybe the end of September we will have the third round. And we start, I think, and we believe that all because it's about materialistic reasons, like how they get money to monetizing, and even I'm specialized in monetization, but I believe that people need a chance to learn and to know and to have educational experiment without money. It shouldn't, somehow you should support them before you ask them for good content. Teach them this good content, and this is what we believe in. And according this all the programs, sometimes they said the gender equality all programs, but it's according the application process. But we choose from the start to have the quota, because when women have, maybe at the first they want to express harder topics, but they don't know how, or they have fears, or they want to tackle it and implement it in a way that guarantees their safety, because there is a lot of fear behind expressing hard topics in the region. So that's why we choose to empower women, to teach them how to build the content, to create the concept, and then to produce and to be like one woman show and one man show for each podcaster, and then to teach them how to market and monetize their podcasts. We have no like agenda for this, no at all. It's a very clear program, just for non-profit program, only to support youth and young podcasters in the Wana region. And we aim to have after this program the episodes to be published. We started to publish the first episode from the first on Spotify under the name Aswatona, because we the Arabic name Aswatona, not our voices. And then we will start to publish every round, like the environmental outcome, the projects that come from the first round, and then the gender, and then the power dynamics, and to be on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, and Deezer, and many platforms, and SoundCloud too. So I think this it's good to have this kind of programs, because I think we don't have this only in America. We have PRX that or Google Creator programs that supports podcasters, and it's only choose maybe I think 4 to 5 podcasters, but we choose to support 18 podcasters and to help them and to give them equipment and the production, and then publish and marketing and do marketing to their podcasts. To do this for podcasters, as it's a new field in the Arab world, and sometimes people think that just to record MP3 and to upload it, it's a podcast. Technically maybe it's a podcast, but it's if it's content with vision and identity podcast. And the application, it will be like every year at the end of the year. Thank you.
Fantastic. It's really intriguing because podcasting gives so many voices an opportunity, and the more people who come and listen, the more chance those voices get to be heard. But of course, the more podcasts that get released, the harder it is to find a podcast. What's been your standout moment making content, Rasha? Because it sounds like you're doing such powerful content. Does anything come to mind that's really moved you?
Actually, I have, I am hard topics in the region, okay, because I do a podcast about period and menstrual hygiene day and virginity, and it's all hard topics. But for me, when we start this, we wanted to give voices to podcasters, how to tackle hard topics in a way. It's because you don't hear too much voice from women about this topics in the region. That's why we as a team, we wanted to give a push and empower women in the group of participants. But for me, actually, I believe that podcast is a safety to make women to express their stories, because I think it's hard to talk with a woman that been about menstrual hygiene day or period. But when it comes to podcast, so okay, she has like change her voice if she want to, or we don't of course show her identity if she asked not to show her identity, so it's more safe. And that's why podcast give me the chance to tackle very hard topics on many ways on the perspective, and grateful for this, because actually I'm so care about this. After the refugee crisis, the menstrual hygiene day start because there was no clean pads in many camps for refugees. That's why when I started this episode, I was believing that people have shy in the Middle East or in the region to talk about this, because they think that it's no one can talk about this sensitive issue. But for me, it was related to a big crisis that women need to express what they want, and this crisis has to be shot from another angle. We don't have to all talk about the camps. Okay, women, there is a women in these camps, so those women, we should talk about them. If they have a problem with not having enough pads, so what is and support them. This is fair. So this is why I think in working with international organizations like UNICEF and Care International, Robert Bosch gave me this power to talk about this. And this is what we applying now in Aswatona to empower women and to talk about sensitive and hard topics, especially in the gender round. It was full of this kind of topics.
Rasha, you mentioned something which really stuck out to me, and it was the power of the human voice, just making a sound with your voice. And obviously identity is linked to how you sound. Of course, when a podcaster starts editing for the first time, they're always shocked that they sound like that. Same with anyone who works in radio or TV. But I suppose maybe everyone could answer this, Wessam, Fadi and Rasha. When it comes to making and speaking out, with that voice in podcasting in the Middle East. Where do you think it's going to go? What type of podcast genres are going to be the most successful? Where do you think the technology will go? Because each region seems to have a different way to progress forward. In the UK, we love interview podcasts, two people just chatting, a celebrity. That seems to be the way it's gone, or comedy. Australia seems to be into true crime, same with Canada, and America loves one-on-one, a monologue, it seems. Where do you think it's going to go with Arabic podcasting specifically?
Okay, I will talk about my experience. That the successful podcasts, it's about experience and interview format. This is the most successful. If I have a personal experience and I share it in a comedy way, this would be very successful for many people, because if I am have this charisma behind the microphone to share my stories, like this happened to me and what happened to me and this. And the other thing is interview the host to know how to conversation, a dynamic conversation. I think this is most successful in the Arab world.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it seems like the content needs to be fantastic, but it's a real strategy behind where you put it and what it's being used for. Podcasting has still got all of that to come. And I think, especially in the Arabic speaking world, it's got a whole new opportunity because there aren't that many podcasts.
The question about target groups, actually, when people always ask me about how to get money from podcasts, I said, it's not about the numbers. I said, when you ask about specific content, it's about how to target the right content, because I built a podcast for traders and good money for them. And even the numbers was low, but the numbers was effective because targeting traders, and some people want to go to trading field. So if they have 2 customers, it will make the deal. It will close the deal with 2 of them. So they don't want numbers. This is why I learned from my experiences about how to target the right ones. And actually, when I start a podcast with Love Matters, it's a platform in the Middle East. It's for sexuality and the sexual education. And I started a podcast about pedophilian acts, and it made more than 100,000 listeners. But people what they was attacking me and attacking the one who I host. They don't want to listen. Just, of course, not all of them, but okay, women was really compassionate with the girl who sharing her story. But the other one said, okay, we are creating this. It's not real story. Okay, so it's about if you do a marketing podcast and you want to reach a specific people, so it would be successful if you play it well. But for what so-called that podcast will be for everybody, it will not be successful, because you should target, who you will target. And always when I started the marketing strategy for Aswatona, I always laughing with my German colleagues, say it's a niche mafish, like it's a niche audience but without audience, because if you're targeting just only podcasters, it's a very new field in the Middle East. So it's not about reach, it's about how to target the right groups. And according to the right groups, you will have engagement, and according to engagement, you will have publicity, and you will be famous in specific communities. You will grow in that way. But to have this, I think you should be influencer, or you should create like identity. When on Facebook they started this kind of identity of texting about sharing a story, even it's a fake story, about when someone is hurting you, you should be that way and that when and sharing this kind of fake content about compassionate and love and all this. I think it will start in Arab world about someone will start a podcast about just keep saying words about, like human development. It's about how you feel, how you love, how you be happy, and this and so. Sure that if you tracking the reach of every podcast, you will find that people according to the topics. Even Dr. Sandarine, it's sexual. She specialized in sexuality. She have a great numbers, but all the numbers you would never have a comment. One comment. There is no comments. It's just only good viewers, good subscribers. Sorry, no subscribers, just listening ship. Because when I talked with her, she said, okay, no one subscribed my podcast, but they just have a huge number of listening, okay? Because no one wanted to be, because they think that it's like a stigma to be a subscriber for a sexuality podcast, but it's good to listen to this podcast. So she has a very good listenership, but has no subscribers or a less subscriber, not huge subscriber. This is why I think it's about the audience and the culture of audience. You just have to create the right topic and then the right targeting group and right engagement. And if you want then to maybe put ads according to this strategy, it will be successful.